Yeah, well, so far we know that it was a truck versus train situation. I want you to take a look at this damage. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. That's actually a miracle. If you take a look at the damage that was done to the truck delivering equipment here on a farm in Zeeland Township. And if you take a look down the railroad, you can see that Amtrak train that is currently holding 59 people heading from GR to Chicago. I'm actually joined now by Ottawa Sheriff Sergeant Matt Wildfong. You guys responded on scene this morning. About what time did this happen, and walk me through what you guys know so far.
It happened around 6:30. We know that the truck was pulling into the farm here to deliver some equipment to the farm. The train was westbound headed towards Chicago. Next stop was in Holland, but ultimately in Chicago. There's 59 people on board. Fortunately, no injuries. The truck was pulling into the farm here and tried to beat the train and was hitting the trailer and spun around.
Yeah. And now, do you know exactly how fast the train was going? I mean, we see damage on the truck, but thankfully nobody was hurt in this situation. It's kind of a miracle.
It is. Fortunately, there is no injuries. I don't know what the speed of the train was going at the time. Like I said, the truck obviously thought he had more time than he did and tried to pull in and make his delivery.
Yeah. Now, what do we know about the people on board that train? 59 people. Is anybody hurt? Anything like that?
No injuries on the train. The train is experiencing some mechanical difficulties, so they may be bringing a bus out to pick the passengers up and bring them to the station, and they can get a mechanic out here and fix the train.
Yeah, and on our way here, we actually did see a freight train that was stopped along the railroad. Do we know exactly at this point how this is going to impact traffic along the railroad?
It potentially would back it up for a bit until they can move this train out of the way. I believe the train that stopped there is a result of this.
Okay. Anything else we should know so far? Is this going to be just a traffic citation for this driver?
Potentially it could be, yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate it. So right now, really no major traffic delays on 64th in Chicago. However, like the sergeant just said with Ottawa Sheriff, this could lead to railroad traffic throughout the day. Of course, we'll continue to follow this and bring you the latest. But for now, live in Zeeland Township for Fox 17 News, I'm Savannah Fish.
Savannah, thank you very much for that report.
It is 7:27 and still ahead this morning.
Sparta is now home to a new bakery. How this business is part of a larger effort to spur on economic developments for new startups.
Breaking now from Fox 17 News.
It is 7:31 West Michigan. Thanks for choosing us today. I'm Brody Carter.
And I'm Deanna Falzone. We're staying on top of some breaking news this morning. Police investigating after a semi crashed into a train just about an hour ago. Checking back in with our Savannah Fish for the very latest.
Yeah, good morning, you guys. We're at 64th in Chicago in Zeeland Township, where we have a situation, train versus truck. So you can see the damaged truck here behind me. We have a tow truck that actually just got here, so they're starting to work on this, but this all happened about an hour ago. So if you take a look down the railroad tracks, you can see that Amtrak train that struck this truck that was ultimately trying to cross the railroad, thinking it had enough time, and he certainly did not. The driver, luckily, no injuries coming out of this, but there are 59 people on board the Amtrak train. It was coming from Grand Rapids, and it was ultimately heading to Chicago. Its next stop, I'm told, is Holland. So they are ultimately thinking that they are going to be picking up those passengers with a bus at some point, but for now, those passengers are remaining inside the Amtrak train, and they're working on cleanup. Now, one thing to take note of is that thankfully there's no traffic buildup for your morning commute, but as far as railroad traffic goes, this could impact railroad traffic throughout the rest of the day. Even headed here this morning, we saw that there was a freight train that was backed up as they worked to clean all of this up. So again, no injuries at this point. Thankfully, 59 people on board the Amtrak train that are A-OK, and the driver of that truck is also experiencing no injuries and refused medical treatment. So we'll continue to follow this and bring you the latest. But for now, live in Zeeland Township for Fox 17 News, I'm Savannah Fish.
In Fox 17 traffic, to pin down the location that Savannah Fish is located at with that crash, it is just to the east of 64th Avenue. And we originally reported Chicago Drive was closed at 64th, but it is open at the moment, and traffic is moving smoothly along Chicago Drive in between Zeeland